Hey everyone, it's Justin with Voices for Voices. We are glad that you are with us for this episode of the show. Uh, we have some more troubling news that has crossed our desk, and this takes us to the state of California. So, I believe it was last week, maybe it was the week before. In a recent episode, we had the uh, San Diego County District Attorney uh, Summer Stefan on, and we walked through what he's doing uh, and trying to help decrease the amount of human trafficking, sex trafficking, labor trafficking in her county. And so, as we know, or we don't know, San Diego County includes the San Diego County includes the city of San Diego, which is also in the state of California. And that's where the story comes to us from. So we're going to be quoting and sharing information from a multitude of um, sources, and we're going to share that as we get to them. Yeah, it just helps us tell the story. Uh, I'm not an attorney, uh, and so for me to read through quite a few pages and then understand the legalese, uh, it's just outside of my expertise. So we're going to throw it right now to the California Family Council. So the following information was shared, and so we're talking in this episode about Assembly Bill 495. In a previous show, we talked about a different Assembly bill uh, in the state of California. So just want to be clear that we're talking about California Assembly Bill 495 this episode, and kind of a summary quote that the California Family Council has right on their website. Anybody can look at it, californiafamily.org. And right at the top, where you have news and stories, it talks about literally right there, quote, presto, someone walks away with your child. Critics slam AB, Assembly Bill 495's threat to parental rights. And so this really takes us right into the heart. And so Assembly Bill 495 uh, at a high level has been, at least from Governor Gavin Newsom's point of view, and Assemblywoman Celeste Rodriguez from the San Fernando area, a Democrat. Uh, and we don't care about affiliated party. We're talking about human beings. And so that's where we're coming at this from. So this is not uh, a knock on any particular party. If it was a Republican, if it was an independent, libertarian, and this bill was introduced by them, we would still be doing this episode. And and so this bill, Assembly Bill 495, uh, and again, we're talking about the California Family Council site. So we're still sharing information about that website, that organization. Please check them out. It says this bill aims to provide compassionate solutions, uh, really in response to the deportations or detention of individuals that are in the United States of America illegally, not legally, illegally with an I. Uh, but really, what this is getting at the heart of the issue, and this is coming from attorneys, it's coming from parental right advocates, as we're sharing here. We're talking about families up in arms all over TikTok today, faith-based organizations uh, are warning that really this assembly bill that does get through, and Gavin does sign this, that it will dangerously redefine guardianship. It really just strips away those parental rights and it creates legal loopholes that make kidnapping children easy. Now we're gonna stop right there because there's some heavy words. We don't take that lightly, as we always say. Uh, we're sharing this as information, public safety, uh, and so from what we've gathered in good faith is this assembly bill is really uh, I want to say a kidnapper, a uh, trafficker's dream, really, giving literally free access uh, to children, and that's why we're doing this episode. Definitely public safety concern. The author of this bill claims that no child should really face uncertainty, and that they don't want to, or that they want to ensure that those children unexpectedly, if their parent has been detained unexpectedly by, ICE, federal immigration officials, that what Celeste wants to do with this bill, which is just interesting. And so, what it intends to do is to streamline guardianship by allowing, now get this straight, I'm going to quote this quote, non-relative family member, end quote. Did you hear what I just said? Non-family or non-relative extended family member. So uh, that 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 basically says they're not a family member, an extended family member. It's a non-relative. Well, if they're not a relative, they're not a family member. So this is just, trying to use fancy words and think that we the people are, stupid and dumb, and we're not. Uh, and so really the definition of this non-relative extended family member is defined really broadly as anyone with a mentoring relationship to assume control over a child through a one-page affidavit, uh, which is really easy to put together. And one of the big reasons it's easy to put together is that there's no court review of this document. There's no notarization and no parental consent is required. Uh, I I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I think Celeste means well, uh, likes the family together, but a non-relative extended family member, you can't use family member and say non-relative. Like it, it doesn't go together. You're either a relative or you're not. And so this mentoring relationship, this could be a coach, this could be anybody. And again, this one page affidavit has no court review, no notarization required, and the kicker is no parental consent is required. You can't make this up, folks. Ah, and Rodriguez goes on to say that, this bill, this caregiver's authorization affidavit uh, lacks clarity and enforceability, and she insists that Assembly Bill 495 enhances, there we go, another fancy term, it enhances child welfare by giving caregivers. Well, wait a minute. We didn't say caregiver up above. We said non-relative extended family member. We didn't say caregiver. So I don't know what Rodriguez is really talking about here. You can't talk about uh, enhancing the child welfare when you're giving these, again, not mentioned above, uh, these caregivers legal, so they're giving, let's just say it's a coach. I have nothing, we have nothing against coaches. We're just throwing it out for an example. So coach says, I have a mentoring relationship with my team. And so in California, this would mean, it isn't specific. See, this is the thing that I struggle with, and a lot of us are struggling with, is it doesn't appear to be specific. In the rollout, it's saying, if somebody's taken away uh, unexpectedly, well, what if what if a child's at home? At home, their parent goes to the bathroom, somebody looks in the window and says, "Oh, that child is unaccompanied, and I don't see a family member, so I'm gonna come to the rescue and I'm gonna rescue this child." Then, and let's say that's that coach in this hypothesis, well, then the coach would be able to show the school, show doctors, this one-page affidavit. It doesn't have to be notarized. It doesn't have to be reviewed by a court. Uh, it doesn't even have to be consented from the parent. And so let's say the parent comes out of the bathroom and they're looking around, where's my child? Where where'd they go? I just went to the bathroom. And I know some of you are like, yeah, okay, Justin. Well, doesn't say that's not the case. Doesn't say it's not the case. It doesn't say it's not the case. So uh, we have to look at things and say, well, if it's not stated, then it means that you can do it. And we're going to hide this under oh, well, if this happens to a parent with a child and they get surprisingly detained by immigration authorities. So I get it, California. I get that a lot of you are upset with President Trump and this is a way to, kind of, get at the man. Uh, why don't we look at things a little bit differently? Why does it have to be a non-relative extended family member? Why does it have to be a coach? Why? And it doesn't even have to be a coach. It can just be uh, anybody perusing the neighborhood, up to no good. And again, like I said, look into the window. Oh, there's an unaccompanied child. They must be in danger. So, the parents going to the bathroom. Maybe they're grabbing a quick shower. They're in their own home. And again, like it is mentioned, uh, presto, someone walks away with your child. I don't know how to be any more clear than that. So we can put it under, uh, immigration uh, and we get that, and that's a fair argument. You can. I'm talking about whether you're for or against, the illegal immigrants here. Uh, we can be either for or against it, but if we don't get super specific, then again, what I just said can become truth. And again, we're going to dig right into this. So, Aaron Friday is an attorney and president of Our Duty USA, which is a parent led advocacy group. And it called AB for Assembly Bill 495, a child traffickers and kidnappers dream bill. So, you heard me say it above earlier in the show. And now I'm giving you like a direct quote. Uh, quote AB 495 is a child traffickers and kidnappers dream bill, end quote. And Aaron goes on, say, quote, there's no background check, there's no welfare check on that child, there's no court oversight, and there's no verification. All you need is a piece of paper and some form of identification of who you are, but there's no obligation for the adult there's no obligation by the actual parent, the adult, handing a child over to verify that identification. So it's not like the parents in the bathroom, they come out and the person's sitting in their house and they're like, you are this child was unaccompanied, and so I'm going to show you my ID. Um, I'm going to be taking this child under this AB 495, uh, and presto, gone. And This Aaron Friday goes on to say that they reject Rodriguez's claim that the bill is narrowly tailored to immigration emergencies. Like I said, if you don't specifically say it, then it has to be implied that it's the case. And Friday says that the bill's language, so words, letters, numbers, sentences included, applies. Now we're really getting into it. The bill's language applies to any child for any reason, regardless of immigration status. So that's buried in there. See, Gavin Newsom and Rodriguez doesn't want you to find that part out. Uh, so this applies to any child for any reason, regardless of immigration status, and grants temporary legal rights to individuals with no blood relation, including people who may not even be known to the child's parents. And all the stranger has to do is consent. Uh, oh no, the stranger is able to consent to medical treatments for the child, and this assembly bill absolves the doctors from any liability. Does that sound familiar? Pfizer, Moderna, the COVID shots. Before it all was rolled out, what are we not able to do as citizens? Well, I don't believe we're able to bring action, legal action towards them. And so they want to help, they want to help, they want to help, except if it doesn't help, and then they don't want to be held liable, and they didn't want that guarantee, and that guarantee was made, plain and simple. So people wake wake up, no blood relation, including people who may not even be known to a child's parents. For this person and this hypothetical that I was mentioning earlier, they see the child. Maybe they ring the doorbell. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how they get in the home, but they get in the home and they say, "Oh, I don't see parent guardian," and the parent could be in the bathroom, literally say, hold on, I'm just in the bathroom." That person leaves with the child and they have no blood relation. Again, may not be known to the parents, to the child's parents. And so not only is a stranger able to take the child and or children, maybe it's more than one, maybe it's one, I don't know. Uh, they're able to they're able to consent to medical treatments for the child. And again, it absolves the doctors from any liability should the adult consenting not have any actual legal connection to the child. So doctor has an adult and a child come in. I have an appointment for Justin. Okay, I don't recognize you. Oh, okay. Well, but it's okay. So here's this one page affidavit. Uh, and oh, by the way, there's this assembly bill. 495, and Gavin Newsom, our governor, signed it into an act, into law. Uh, so I don't really need to show you any identification. Uh, but uh, I'm here on behalf of the family, uh, and so I'm just helping out. Yeah, I don't have any bloodline, uh, no connection. And the doctor says, "Okay, bring him in, bring him in. What would you like?" And whatever the request is, the doctor does. But they've been given consent by this person because it falls under this bill, goes into law for the state of California. And the doctors are like, "All right, well, oh yeah, I was reading about that. Yeah, we're not going to have any, as a doctor, I'm not going to have any liability if this consenting adult doesn't actually have any legal connection to the child." So they go ahead and put them in the path. So, quote, Friday says, quote, we're talking about a legal pathway for predators to operate in plain sight, end quote. End quote. This bill is not about immigration. It's about relinquishing parental rights to unvetted, what we call basically strangers that we don't know. And so this bill, the Senate bill, relinquishes parental rights to unvetted strangers under the guise, GUISE, not GUIS, under the guise, kind of like like here, we're gonna put we're gonna pull the wool over the sheep's eye by the wolf. And so the wolf is saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're being compassionate." And the sheep's like, "Bah, bah, I don't think so." Doesn't matter what the sheep says. The wool was, you know, pulled over by the wolf, so doesn't matter. It's We also have another attorney, Nicole Pearson, and the founder of Facts Law, Truth Justice, also echoed these concerns and her or in the testimony before the Senate Human Services Committee. Quote, California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove him or her from school, enroll him or her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment of his or her, including mental health services and drugs, without the parents' notice. They don't notify them either. So without the parents' notice and knowledge of consent. This is not fear mongering. I am not being hyperbolic. These unintended consequences are terrifying and they're unavoidable. And Pearson has represented immigration families and trafficking survivors and noted that the bill's vague, which means it's very broad and open to interpretation, not just talking about immigration, uh, the children that are, affected by, this potential unexpected uh, detention, or deportation of an illegal immigrant. Not legal, illegal. 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 And Pearson goes on to say that because of this bill's vague definitions, so open to interpretation. So Celeste Rodriguez says, oh, this is what it is. It's all about compassion and it's only for these specific cases. But it's not, because here we have, uh, and these are just a couple folks that say that the bill is vague in its definitions and lacks the procedural safeguards. And this is where it gets scary, and are eerily similar to the federal mishandlings that led to over 600,000 unaccounted for unaccompanied minors in 2021. Pearson goes on, quote, yet AB 495 goes even further than that. The bill co-opts the term non-relative extended family member from dependency, like foster care court, but since it's a termed caretaker's authorization affidavit will not be used with any official legal proceeding, and it completely sidesteps the system safeguards such as background checks, fingerprinting, home visits, welfare checks, interviews, hearings, and liability if the child is harmed. End quote. This is not a compassionate bill designed to help the children of undocumented immigrants. Remember, this person that's saying this, they've helped individuals that this bill is supposedly supposed to help and only help. And they're saying this is not the case. This is not what Assembly Bill 495 is. It's uh, much more than that. Goes on to say it is a license to take vulnerable children and make them disappear, she said in a later interview. So, what did the bill actually do? It's promoted as compassionate safeguard for children of detained immigrant parents, but it in fact expands who qualifies as a caregiver to include, as I mentioned multiple times, quote, non-relative extended family members. And this is defined as any adult with an established familial or mentoring relationship with the child, or with a relative of the child, a broad and loosely defined category. It authorizes this use of what's been called a caregiver authorization affidavit. Again, this is all just to confuse, us lay people by these individuals. And it allows them to assume decision making, which we talked about, over a child's schooling, medical care, without a court appearance, a notarization, or a parental signature. It grants caregivers, so we call them It grants caregivers the legal ability to enroll a child in school and authorize dental, medical, mental health treatments, including treatments related to school participation. This includes trait, this includes sex trait modification procedures. I'll say that again. This includes sex trait modification procedures. So this person can come and take this child. It also does not require schools or daycare facilities to verify the identity, relationship, or even the legitimacy of the adult presenting this caregiver's authorization affidavit. Again, while absolving them of any liability, uh, should the child be handed over to a stranger or trafficker. And it requires court documents related to joint guardianship arrangements, which is appointed in anticipation of a parent's temporary unavailability, while it also includes immigration related detention. It's not only for immigration related detention. And so what this is really getting at is these any court documents related joint guardianship, etc., including all these different statuses, are to be kept confidential and only accessible to parties in the case. Disclosure to immigration authorities is prohibited without a court order based on compelling necessity, unrelated to immigration enforcement. So we need a court order down here, but all these other things, we don't need a court order to take the child. In short, AB 495 significantly reduces oversight and verification and assigning authority over children, introducing the potential of confusion and misuse in situations where parental rights and child safety are at stake. Call to action. With lawmakers back in their districts, now's the moment for parents, pastors, citizens to speak up. Call your state senator and urge a no vote on AB 495. Share this on social media, alert your community, pray for the protection of California's children and the restoration of biblical parental authority. Pretty deep stuff here, isn't it, folks? I've got one last one last section here for this episode. And again, this is all under the California Family Council, which is californiafamily.org. And so this particular section is is shorter. This is Pastor Jack Hibbs rallies parents to Sacramento. He says if AB, so if Assembly Bill 495 passes, in quote, run with the green back here. He says, quote, run with your kid. Okay, this is a pastor says if you have children in California, that if this AB 495 passes, run with your kids. Pastor Hibbs says, quote, I have to tell you, if this bill passes, I'm going to ask you to leave the state of California, end quote. Pastor Hibbs does, he declared from the pulpit, quote, you got to get out. You got to run with your kids. You got to go, end quote. Very, oh my gosh, this is just, it is a wake up call, as he says. This is an urgent message, and we need to share and we need to keep talking about it. Please share this episode uh, on social media. Let everybody know that lives in the state of California that has kids. Jack Hibbs says on his, Pastor Jack Hibbs says on his, looks like Instagram, California's AB 495 is the most dangerous bill we've ever seen, and it is being pushed right now by lawmakers in Sacramento. This bill, so this is an addition to what I shared for the first half of the show. This bill, according to Jack Hibbs, Dr. Jack Hibbs, this bill would allow any non-related adult, and so this is my point. So this could be a neighbor, it could be a teacher, could be an ex-relative, or even a complete stranger to take custody of your child without your knowledge or consent. No background check, no court order, no parent signature, just a piece of paper. It doesn't need to be verified. So Pastor Jack Hibbs joins the call and says, we're calling on every parent, grandparent, and concerned citizen to show up on August 19th at the Capitol steps in Sacramento. This, he said, is the hill to die on, and that your attendance matters. And then a California Family Council post on social media, looks like Instagram, quote, California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove him or her from school, enroll him or her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment of him or her, including mental health services and drugs, without the parents' notice or knowledge or consent. This is not fear mongering. We're not being hyperbolic. These unintended consequences are terrifying and they're unavoidable. I hope I made myself clear with Assembly Bill 495. Here in California, August 19th, uh, Capitol step in Sacramento. You want to be there, make your voice heard, make your voices heard. And for Pastor Jack Hibbs to say this is the hill to die on, that's a pretty strong statement. It means it's important. It means if this goes forward, who knows what else is, is next. And for the pastor to say, the pastor, you need to get out. You need to take your kids, get out of the state of California. So he doesn't care if it's attendance, if his worshipers goes down. He's saying, get out. And so this is a very good example of, again, regardless of party, regardless of Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, it's a good reminder that all of our voices matter. I don't even live in the state of California, and I've gotten so many messages about this that I couldn't believe it at first, right? You know, sometimes you get a message or two and you look into something and it's like, all right, this can be viewed, a couple different ways. Uh, Not this though, not this. And and there's also, from what I understand, maybe sub other subsection to AB 495 that may impact if you homeschool your child or children. I haven't had a chance to truly verify all those. Not to say it's not 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 the truth, but I wanted to get this show out. Uh, we wanted to get this show out as soon as possible. Uh, Again, it took some vetting for us to do, uh, but once we did that, we knew it was an important thing to do. That we needed to get on this. We needed to put this together. We needed to share information, share other reporting, uh, and get this in front of as many people in the state of California with children, or maybe have a relative there. Maybe you know somebody. Maybe you go to college there, or you know somebody goes to college there. Or again, this is what you see up here. Voices for voices. These are the types of issues that transcend political affiliation, transcend the pettiness. This, if passed, and Gavin, if you sign this, just remember, we're all going to be judged one day. And one of the things that's probably going to be asked is, did you help people or did you hurt people? I think it's a pretty basic question. And you can't lie to the maker of the universe. I mean, you can try it if you want, but God can write legally, he can read legalese, uh, put things together. And in this case, this specific case. I'm not judging anybody. We're sharing information because this is a public safety concern in the state of California. That even the fact it has the support that it has now is really, really kind of troubling that we're even at this point. And so I'd ask any lawmaker, any advocacy group, anybody who is for AB 495, I want to ask you point blank. So you're okay with this? Oh, well, my children are grown, they're adults, they're grown. Well, I bet there's at least one lawmaker that's for it, that has children. So you're cool with that? You're cool with going to the bathroom in your own house, your child playing, and you coming out of the bathroom after washing your hands and sanitizing and all that. And you're like, where is my child? So you're cool with that. To say, yeah, you know what? Whoever has them, yeah, I trust them. That's basically what you're doing. The one of the sayings goes, "Do as I say, not as I do." And so, lawmakers, if you have children and you're cool with this going into effect, and you're cool with this impacting you, then I guess you know the route that you're going to vote. But if you actually go, is reelecting, is getting reelected more important or less important from my kids, my family? One would think that your kids, your children, your family is more important than politics. And so that's why I'm hoping to appeal to everybody and say, you know what? If you're okay, well, finishing your shower, finishing going to the bathroom, finish mowing the grass, and then going inside and seeing your child's gone. You're like, well, no, 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 that's different. That's not related to, the immigration part. Well, the the assembly bill doesn't carve only that piece out. In the PR statement, you carve that piece out to make it sound like that's what the assembly bill is all 495 is all about. But as I stated, other people, not me, other people have said it doesn't say it's only the folks impacted with the the immigration, unexpected den unexpected detention, uh, etc. So you're okay with the biggest, baddest criminal roaming the streets. It doesn't even matter if it's the first time or the 10th time. If they're up to no good and you want to say, yes, I want to pass AB 495 and I have children and I'm okay if that were to happen, by all means, vote your conscience. But just know this, that your conscience says that politics is more important than family if you think this way. And get off the PR terms, the PR talking point. Talk about the full bill. That's what we don't talk about enough in this country and other areas. We talk about what's convenient for us, convenient for our platform, convenient for our lobbyists, the ones that are lining our pockets, that make Nancy Pelosi have a net worth of hundreds of millions of dollars when her salary is like 150, $200,000 a year. How does that, the math don't work like that. If you're making 200,000 in 5 years, that's $1 million. But that before taxes. So what would it be worth? A few million? Okay. But hundreds of millions? Career politician? It's the same type of logic here, folks. If all you have is time to read uh, your talking points, and again, we think family, loved ones, blood relatives are more important than politics. That's why, with me not living and us not living in the state of California, why it's why we had to put this together. Because we're not trying to just help certain people. We want to help everybody. We want to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. I don't care what party you're in, political party, affiliation, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about everybody's children. And I really don't think you would be okay with that, to have that happen to you and be cool with that. Just like, oh yeah, yeah. So we just want to bring some information to you. We were against California Assembly Bill 495. I know the San Diego District Attorney, Summer Stephan, is also against this, who we also had on the show in a previous episode. Yeah, I believe it's in the 290s. We're over 300 in 2 episodes at least by now when this airs uh, and comes out. And so check out that conversation. I thought it was a good conversation. I learned a whole lot. Maybe you could too. So until next time, please be a voice for you or somebody in need. And I have been your host, founder of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Why don't we do something together? Why don't we celebrate the voices of everybody and let that begin with us, our families, especially keeping our children safe. Talk to you next time, everybody. Bye bye.